Hello and welcome to Real Talk here on Fullerton College Television. My name is Huijon and today we will be having Courtney, otherwise known as Bang Rice, talk about his comedy career and how he feels about the comedy industry. Well, Courtney, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
A little bit about me, former Air Force cop. Now I am focusing in on the entertainment industry, doing comedy, acting, and hosting.
That's so awesome. How did you first get into this line of work?
I actually got into this line of work working as security for Dennis Rodman. I actually was like security slash bodyguard over there. Someone saw me, liked my style, and said, "Hey, I want to put you in a movie."
That's pretty cool. What got you interested in comedy in the first place?
You know what got me interested in comedy was seeing Eddie Murphy. When I saw Eddie Murphy do it, Carol Burnett, Jack Lemmon, um, Jerry Lewis, R.I.P. to that guy. But yeah, just seeing those guys, man, and I love the way that they had that control of the crowd, and they could just make people happy, and I love that.
Were you a kid when you were inspired?
I was a kid when I was inspired. I was inspired at probably around 5 or 6 years old. The performance bug bit me. Saw Michael Jackson perform, and it just like electrified my soul. I was like, yo, I gotta do that too.
Was it more later in the years that you were inspired by comedy?
Later in my years, I was re-inspired, we'll say, and I actually thought, what, I could really do this and actually make a living doing it. One of my acting teachers told me that, I actually had a gift for it and I should pursue it, and been doing it ever since.
That's pretty awesome. What big or major comedy bars and clubs have you performed at?
The biggest club that I've performed at is probably the Improv. You've heard of that, of course. The Comedy Store. I've been there. Comedy Palace. You name it. The Ice House in Pasadena. I'm all over the place. So you can catch me any major venue. You can catch me there.
Who is an ideal comedian you would like to perform with or be a part of their guest lineup?
The ideal comedian that I would like to, like a guest lineup, I would say Ellen DeGeneres. She has a very eclectic audience, and I consider myself to be the same way, so that'd be dope to hook up with Ellen, I think.
What's your favorite part of your career?
My favorite part is that I get to spread love and promote positivity through comedy. Because you can reach anybody. Everybody has a bad day. Everybody needs a little pick me up, and that's what comedy does for people, and I love that I can do that.
Definitely. What is your least favorite part of being in the comedy industry?
My least favorite part, I would say, probably just that there's not a lot of camaraderie. I thought it would be more like a brotherhood, but it's not really. It's kind of cutthroat. So that's probably my least favorite part.
What are some dream venues you would like to perform at?
Dream venue, of course, number one, Madison Square Garden would be awesome. The Rose Bowl, can you imagine that? A whole show with just me at a Rose Bowl? Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's pretty cool. How long do you think you're going to keep comedy up?
I think that I will keep up comedy for the rest of my life. I kind of just live it. All the stories that you hear me talk about are all just little snippets of my life. So everything is, it's eternal. It'll be forever.
When did you actually decide to take comedy serious?
I decided to take comedy serious, I would say, from the jump. I always took it serious, even as a class clown. I was the class clown that like actually said the joke and waited for the applause. Like if it didn't happen, I'd keep going until I got it. I was working on my craft early age.
Have you taken it seriously?
I have taken it seriously. I mean, at this point, they actually pay me money to do it. So that's serious, right? I think that puts you in the kind of professional realm.
Well, hold your thought right there. We'll be right back after this commercial. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Getting Real. I'm your host, Eddie Huijon, and we're coming right back with Bang Rice. Well, what is the first joke you have ever come up with your career?
The first joke I ever came up with, I think it was, I was gonna say my name, but the first joke I ever came up with was, why did God put the crease in your butt this way instead of that way?
I don't know why.
So when you go down the slide, your butt cheeks don't go.
That's pretty funny. How often do you reuse jokes?
Actually, you reuse jokes every time because that's your act. And you'll find that once you start progressing in your career, people come to hear those specific jokes and they bring other people to hear that specific joke. So, yeah, for the rest of your life, you'll be doing it.
What would be the name of your comedy show if you had one? And let's say Comedy Central.
Comedy Central comedy show would be called Get a Life Out of Bang. Right?
Yeah.
Huh? That makes sense. You're getting a life out of me. I'm giving you life with comedy.
Pretty awesome. What is the most recent joke you have recently made?
The most recent joke that I have made, I would say was, there's so many. I mean, life is a walking joke, but I told a joke about, the president, and I said that everybody should vote for him, and so I could take over as the warlord because I figured he'd plumage the world into like Armageddon, and I know how to make potable water and hunt, so I figured you guys would just have to worship me, join my gang. It's called the Bang Gang. Hashtag that if you're repping, guys. And yeah, so it was a joke about that. But I'm not going to go into it. It's long, and you don't have the time. You go ahead.
Okay. What do you wish the comedy industry can improve on for everyone and comedians?
I think the comedy industry could improve on just having a more of a support unit. I feel like they eat their own, they eat their young. It's like you start off and then you go to a venue and maybe you have a poor show and then someone just starts talking bad about you, and next thing you know, that reputation gets out there, and then you can't book a gig because somebody saw this one bad show. And one bad show doesn't make a comedian good or bad. It's just one show. You keep working at your craft, you'll get better. So,
How do you feel about comedians that steal jokes?
I feel like comedians that steal jokes, it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, you should be able to create your own content, but at the same token, there's comedians that use writers, and that's not their joke. But you know them as this comedian, and you know them for that material, but they bought that material for $1,600 or whatever the case may be. That happens all the time in the industry.
Well, what are some shows that you have been on either on television or YouTube?
On YouTube, I've been on Epic Mealtime. You ever watch that show? I was on there. I'm the guy that says "Cake Mother." If you ever watched the episode, it's fast food fluffy cake with Gabriel Iglesias.
Yes.
You know that guy. And then TV shows, I was on Dr. Drew's Life Changers. That was crazy. We don't have to talk about it. And then most recently, I've done a bunch of stuff for Netflix. So there'll be a new show called Chef Effect coming out. And then Drug Lords, where I play a drug lord. Can you believe that? It's kind of stereotypical, but I still, acting, you gotta work, right?
Is there a favorite show that you've been on that you wish you could be on again?
My favorite show that I've done? Wow. I did Rush Hour, I think, 3. That was dope. That'd be dope if I could do like Rush Hour 8 that's coming out, I think. There's a new one coming out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bang Rice, for coming on the show and sharing with us your interests and opinions on comedy. Well, this has been another interesting episode of Real Talk. I'm your host, Eddie Huijon. Thanks for stopping by. We will see you next time here on FCTV. Take care.